there's more shit on your mind that is not your business, that's messing with your peace, that's messing with your rest, that's messing with your sleep. I believe most of us want to achieve the goals and then be able to have enough life in us to celebrate. I literally have seen people smash goals and then like, oh, now I can rest. Now I can go take a nap. Like if I'm hitting goals and I'm smashing goals, I want to go turn up. When I say evaluating your environment, I'm talking about for the energy drainers and the energy drivers. And most of us can readily identify the energy drainers. Some of them are in our house and some of them are in our bed. But that ain't my business.
Hey friends, and welcome to the Next Best Thing podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Cline-Thomas. I'm here to help you live the life that you design instead of choosing a life you think you have to settle for. Let these conversations be your guide. So I try to keep it a buck here. I try to keep it all the way funky. Let me tell you what. Here's the good news. I am in a very busy season of my life. I don't have a shortage of opportunities. It is what I hoped for, and it is here, and I am living it live and in color. Here's the issue. I'm exhausted. My left eye is twitching. I don't know if you can even see it. My left eye is twitching because I'm exhausted. And sometimes I am overwhelmed. And here's the thing. When the pressure kind of goes up, I just go into work mode. It's who I am, but it's also how I've been trained. In news, I was in it for more than 15 years as an on-air reporter and anchor, and you are trained to keep going. You're reporting on fires, shootings, calamity, crashes, all the things. You're live. You have a deadline every day. You go. Who cares if you're sad? Who cares if you're tired? You just keep going. And that is a bit of my default. Now, in the 2 years since I've left, I have a lot more tools in my toolbox. I have deprogrammed, or I am in the process of deprogramming. I can't be in something for more than 16 years, and really many years, like more than 20, honestly, if you count the education and all the other experience. You can't do that for more than 20 years and then just think in 2 years, you're just going to go back and just become this whole brand new person. There are a lot of skills from news that have created a life to where I have all kinds of opportunities right now. I credit that one-to-one straight to news, but there's also some things that I need to unlearn and let go of. And it's that. And my cousin recently was like, well, you talk about this so much on the podcast. Why don't you just do it? Ooh, shade. Got it, but noted. She's not wrong. And that's why I love this podcast, is because I have these conversations when I need it. Hopefully you're finding this podcast to have the conversations that you need in that moment. And today is completely one of those days. Today's guest is LaShasta Bell. She's a licensed mental health professional and a sleep scientist and a corporate wellness coach. Now, I just told her, you'll hear it off the top, I'm a hot mess. Look, I am. I fully own it. I am. And I gave her full reign to go ahead and read me. She was loud, y'all. She was loud and loving, and I'm better for it. And I hope you are better for it as well. As always, I want to know what you think. So go ahead and leave a comment. Also, subscribe. Have you subscribed yet? Join more than 1,000 of your friends and subscribe to this podcast, because not only will it ensure that you never miss another episode, it helps get this really good content, this life-fulfilling content in front of more people. That's what we want over here. We want everybody to be well. We want everybody to be resting. We want everybody to be profitable. Share the wealth. And all you have to do is hit subscribe. All right, we won't delay it any further. Let's go ahead and dive into this conversation with LaShasta. So LaShasta, I'm so happy that you are here, and the timing of it could not be better for my life, because I know what you have to tell me is what I need to hear in this moment, because as I told you before, I am very much of a hot mess. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I mean, we all have our season of hot mess. We all have it.
I am knee deep. Okay. So you talk about you are a professional sleep strategist. What does that mean?
Well, and it's a kind of, one of those coins of, yes, I have this professional set of skills. I'm all about sleep, and I believe life is a strategy. So I put those things together to be the professional sleep strategist for people to understand that you have to have strategy in and around your sleep in order to get to where you want to go. We'll do strategic planning for our businesses and goals, but we never think about strategizing for our sleep. And so I felt like the my audience could relate to the strategy part and the professional part. The sleep is just what I would have to get them to get them together in that piece. But the words themselves were relatable and they could connect them to other things in life. And then I'll teach them how to connect them to sleep, the professional and the strategist, and how to connect those two items to your sleep.
You're right. I've never thought about a sleep strategy. I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to do anything more tonight. All right, should I watch this thing? All right, I'm just going to go to bed. And that's it. Like, that's it. It just is time runs out and then I close my eyes. I don't think about a strategy. Why do we even need a sleep strategy? How can that benefit us?
It stops you from dying. How about that? Like it stops you from killing yourself. If we go to the most fundamental, the most basic is without a strategy, like you say, you kind of fall into bed or not because you have the self awareness of should I watch this? Should I not watch this? Should I just go to bed? When most are just eating up the TV, eating up social media until they pass out or falling asleep with the TV on. So the things that they're doing is essentially contributing to our early demise. And that's not LaShasta, that's the CDC. Literally, they're saying if you're sleeping less than, let's see, less than 7 hours, your mortality rate increases by 7%. If you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours, then your mortality rate increases by 13%. And those are the golden years, right? That we out here, y'all out there. I'm not in it. I'm gonna say y'all. A lot of times I'll say we, I'll include myself, but in this particular situation, I'm gonna say y'all working for the golden years to retire by staying up all night, hustling, grinding, yet it's being counterproductive because literally you're giving those years back. I like to tell people I'm a God's girl, so it's literally like saying, okay, Lord, I know you want me to live to 85, but here, take them last 10 back. I'm gonna stay up and work on this business plan, or I'm gonna stay up and watch TV, or put one more load of clothes in the laundry. So the strategy and the planning is essential for your livelihood, for your longevity. And we could talk about productivity and cognitive ability, but at the end of the day, if you're not alive, you don't have cognitive ability. If you're not alive, you're not producing. So if we just stick with the longevity, that's the value of the plan to be strategic. I like to tell people you should be cultivating your sleep from the moment you wake up. It's not about 30 minutes before bed or an hour before bed. Your sleep hygiene is important. Don't get me wrong. But what keeps up people up most of the time is not what happens right before bedtime. It's what did or did not happen at lunchtime or in the morning meeting, in the afternoon meeting, or parent pickup. Those are the things that stay on our minds that keep us awake. It's not not the hour before bed. We're not thinking about what's on our minds. It's not keeping us up an hour before bed. It's during the day. Did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? I didn't get to do this. Oh, I could go on and on and on.
Hmm. And folks just need to say ouch if it's them. If it's hitting too close, it's okay. Just go ahead and say ouch. I want you to unpack that in terms of when you're talking about how, from the moment you wake up, you need to have a plan for your sleep. What does that look like?
That looks like, we'll say the whole key thing, setting boundaries. I know it's such a buzz type situation, but literally that's what it means, setting boundaries around your time, setting boundaries around your energy. setting boundaries around your emotions. And first, we have to start with ourselves. We have to set boundaries for ourselves first. Like you mentioned, should I watch this? Should I not watch this? Or it could look like and sound like I'm not going to watch anything after 9 p.m. so that I can cultivate my sleep, so that I can X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to watch the news in my bed before I go to sleep. That's a boundary. And when we set them throughout the day, it helps to build our sleep at night. Another thing is really evaluating our environment. I have what's called the BD method. And so literally it's like a brain dump and evaluating your environment and developing routines. Those are some of the things that we can do that contributes to cultivating your sleep from the moment you wake up. Some people are like, oh, I'm so tired of routines and I don't want to have a routine for this and a routine for that. Well, when we develop routines, it helps to increase our flexibility because for the most part we know what's going to happen when, and when it does not, then we are able to be flexible and pivot. But when everything in all things we're flying by the seat of our pants, it increases our anxieties, which keeps us up at night. So those are just a couple things, the boundaries, evaluating your environment. And I can go a little bit more into evaluating your environment because people like to think I'm talking about their pillow and their mattress. And those are cool, but you can Google that, right? I do have the training to teach about the type of pillow and the type of mattress, but I opt out and let someone else do that. When I
Okay.
say evaluating your environment, I'm talking about for the energy drainers and the energy drivers.
Mm.
And most of us can readily identify the energy drainers. Some of them are in our house and some of them are in our bed, but
Ooh,
that ain't my business.
right.
I'm just saying, been there, done that. We'll rock the t-shirt, the hat, and the shoes. Look,
Look, go on. Go.
eh, tell me when I'm lying, because and here's the thing: we choose what we give our energy to. So it's no shade to whoever's in your bed. It's still about an eye-centered situation. Because too often, and that's one of the reasons that as a sleep science coach, I do not focus on too much on the external, because that's the first thing we want to go to. We
Mm.
don't want to look inward. Too many of us are lacking in our emotional intelligence in and around self awareness. And without the self awareness, you can't cultivate anything but some dis ease for somebody else and for yourself. So to cultivate that means to be intentional with your thinking, to be intentional with your behavior, to be intentional with your emotionals. It's very much about intentionality. Thinking about, okay, at 12 o'clock, am I gonna hydrate or am I gonna get another cup of coffee? What's gonna be the value of getting another cup of coffee? What's gonna be the value of hydrating? At lunchtime, is it more valuable for you to work through lunch, or is it more valuable for you to take your lunch and go outside and not eat it at your desk? All of these things lead up to peace and securing your peace. I like to tell people, yes, I talk about sleep, but I learned I had to back it up to help others understand how to rest and how to secure their peace. As a mental health professional, when I was in the chair, I can't tell you how many clients, especially Black and Brown women, that would be in tears in their therapy session because they didn't know how to rest. They didn't know what it meant to have inner peace when there was chaos externally. Those are the small things that lead up to the great night of sleep. I like to say it's in the details. Your sleep, your peace, your rest is in the details of your life. It's not the big things, it's the small things.
And that's what I was actually going to ask you next is what's the difference between sleep, peace, and rest?
Ooh, so sleep is a whole biological process that takes place. When we are sleeping, we are unconscious. We are allowing our brain to process the learning and the memories of the day. we're allowing our muscles and our tissues and our circulation to recover. So it's a whole biological process that takes place, and we're unconscious. Rest, you can't, sleep can be a form of rest, but sleep is not just, rest is not just sleep. Let me see, I guess it was like 2020 probably latter 2020. I was feeling very stuck in my creativity and what I was going to do next and how I was going to do it in business. And so I decided to take rest. And to take rest, I learned how to Forex trade. And now I'm a nerd. I'm just cute, y'all, but I'm a nerd. I love the brain. And because some people be like, Forex trading is rest, because it was shifting from what I do with my daytime and what I call work. And it allowed me to take a break and use a different part of my brain. Some people go on walks to rest. Some people may find a hobby that they enjoy. So rest is about shifting from what is work and allowing yourself the opportunity to just be and to enjoy. And now, when we talk about peace, peace is that inner contentment, literally being able to go, okay, this may not be right, and this may not be right, and this may not be right. However, what is in my control is how I emotionally respond to it, how much energy I give it. And based on that, I want to decide how content I want to be. And that is hard. That is like a daily renewing that has to take place when we talk about rest. When we talk about peace, because we allow so much information in our ears, through our eyes, that we have to be intentional about choosing to renew our contentment and our peace on a daily basis. Literally. It's because it's too much information out there. It's just too much. And some people may say, well, my timeline is of cats and dogs and babies. It's still information. It's still the brain having to process information. You still have to go through what to do with this information, where to store it, how to feel about it. So for those of us, and I'm say y'all because I stopped. Following the shade room, no shade to the shade room. But 90% of that content will create a space for emotional disruptions.
Mm. So, okay, this is why this is loud, is because so my background is in news. And so as a news reporter, like that is the job, is to take on an avalanche of information. I mean, and it's like you have to be up on all the things all the time. And what I've learned since leaving, I didn't realize how conditioned I was, because it's so normalized, because you're in an environment where everyone's doing the same thing. So it's not a problem. And it wasn't until COVID, when interviewing therapists and stuff and helping people with their mental health, and they're like, we'll turn off the news. And I'm like, what? The news is my job. Like, I can't, like, this is my actual job. But that was like the,
Right.
but it was
Yeah,
just
yeah, that's work.
but it was just, it was their advice to other people. And I'm like, wow, if all of these therapists keep on saying to other people, turn off the news, and I am the news, like, there has to be something
Right.
not right in this space. So it's been, um, and that's the thing, is that I revert back to that, because that is that's how I've been trained. That's what I've been conditioned to. But I'm trying to learn, kind of in this season, kind of new ways to be. So the whole idea of that I really want to accentuate is, when you're talking about, like, sleep is not just uh like, resting is not just sleep. Once I learned that last year, and I was like, "Wait, what? I have never heard
Yeah.
this before." And so I tried to carve out, I live near the water, and I try to carve out moments in my day to just, "Oh, let me just go take a walk." It's my favorite thing to do. It's the Manhattan
Hmm.
skyline, like, it's so beautiful, I love it. I'm going for a walk. and I'm listening to music, and I'm just like in my own zone, in my like introvert
Mm-hmm.
bubble. And I come back and I'm like getting a ton of steps in. I'll probably get like 8,000 steps during that big loop that I make. And I come back and I always feel so much better. But I wouldn't have known to do that until I learned that rest doesn't mean sleep. That was
Exactly.
that was very much
So
transformative.
to speak to your former colleagues and those who are in the line of work that you have to consume information, the B in the BED method is brain dump. And so that is something that all of us can practice, but especially those who their job is to consume a lot of information. And brain dumping is literally taking time to sit down and write down all the things that's on your mind,
Mhm.
every single thing that comes to mind. It can be done any time of day. I suggest for clients, wherever they're feeling the most angst, the most discontentment in their day, to that's where you put your first brain dump. You can do more than one. I have one client, she started brain dumping. She was a leadership in education. She started brain dumping right before she left work.
Mhm.
And by the second week, her sleep improved, her ability to rest improved because her brain wasn't busy. So doing a brain dump is literally like having a mental vial release to put put that information somewhere. So then you have capacity to rest. You have capacity to engage in healthy relationships. You have capacity to cultivate your sleep. But a lot of times we have so much information on us that we feel like we can't do any one more thing. It's like, no, I don't have space, LaShasta, for a brain dump. I don't have space to go for a walk. Start making time. It could be 2 minutes. Set a 2 minute timer and just dump your brain. Ideally, you're writing because when we're writing, there's a different connection that takes place. But you can even do it in your phone. You can do a video, I mean, not a video, a voice record of all of the things. And one thing, how I added and extended the brain dump is by once you write everything down, divide it into two columns: what's in my control and what's out of my control.
Mm.
That's going to give some of y'all a shock. It's gonna help boost your EQ because your self awareness is going to increase when you start to realize that it's more stuff. I'll be having to watch my words
Yeah.
sometimes.
Here, you can say whatever you want, however you want over here.
Oh well, thanks. That there's more shit on your mind that is not your business. That's messing with your peace. That's messing with your rest. That's messing with your sleep. I tell folk, check the tag, check the ownership. A lot of the stuff is not ours. And the reason why I know, because I was that chick that was up an hour and a half. I can remember from like the tender age of 8, not being able to fall asleep and being fascinated with my dad's girlfriend because it seemed like she fell asleep in midair. Now that's a sign of sleep deprivation. Let me just say that, and exhaustion. If you sleep before your head hit the pillow, the average time should be about 10 and no more than 15 minutes to fall asleep. But my mind was so busy and
Mm.
so even at 8, like when I think back about it, I'm like, I had this dysfunctional maladaptive relationship with sleep early on. And so I really love on me in this space that now I'm able to teach people how to go to bed and how to go to sleep and work with organizations that are interested in improving their employees' well-being while improving the company's productivity and bottom line. It's like a 2 for 1. And I don't know about you, but I love a good sale, a good deal. If I
Right.
can go in somewhere and get 2 for 1, even if I only need one, I'm gonna go ahead and get two. If I like the shirt in one color, can I get it in all 5 colors?
That part.
That's just me. So for sleep to be my thing is so powerful when I know where I started compared to where I am.
Mhm.
We have to change the narrative. We have to change our narrative. We have to understand that rest is productive. Just like we have a work ethic, we must have a rest ethic. A lot of the great men and women that have created amazing things that makes our society what it is had rest ethic. Like some of the great names we know, like Einstein, would walk in nature with a notepad. because most of the time, the problems he was trying to solve was answered in his rest, not in his work.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you saying that makes so much sense because when I go on my walks, I had like that's where I get the best ideas or like in the shower because I always like I take my shower in the morning, but I also take a shower at night as my way of like telling my brain, all right, we are switching gears
Hmm.
right now and it's just like my time to just kind of like just check out a bit, you know? And I have the
It's part of
great
your rest ethic.
it's
Yeah,
part of my rest ethic.
yeah, it's part of your rest ethic. So many people tell me about the shower. Like, the shower is my place. Think about it. You're your most vulnerable. You are unclothed. You are free. You are rinsing and washing. And it can become a whole mindful practice that could be part of your sleep hygiene, which is what we do before we get ready for bed. Like,
Mhm.
getting ready for bed, that's part of our sleep hygiene. Like you said, it tells your body, it tells your mind, we about to chill.
Right.
Now, what we do after that shower can determine how well our sleep goes. Because some of us will get in the shower, then go in the kitchen and wash the dishes, and
Mhm.
then turn the TV on and watch, some ratchetness. No shade on the ratchetness. Just watch it earlier to give your brain more time to process it and know what to do with the information. So yes, that what you're experiencing is rest. But
Oh, I did not know that.
excited for you. Like,
Yes. So, as I was telling you before, it's just like when you're in an environment where everybody else is using the same coping mechanisms for their day, for how they're processing information, you are not out of the ordinary, right? You normalize that behavior, even though it's harmful. So, what are some of the signs that people like you in danger? This is not normal. This is not how it's supposed to be.
brain fog. We've normalized having brain fog. Everybody wants to have ADHD. Everybody does not have ADHD. Most of y'all, because I do really do have ADHD, but most of it is sleep deprivation, making errors when you find yourself misspelling words, or not, is you have a project and it's 3 or 4 steps and you miss a step. We chalk it up to all the things except sleep deprivation.
Mhm.
So, on its most basic, most common platform, being sleep deprived means having brain fog, means having cognitive delays, means not making the best decision. How many times have you made a decision and then get some good sleep and go, "Ooh, I wish I would have did this instead of that"?
Mhm.
Those are the signs. Now, if we scaffold up heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, 7 of the 15 chronic diseases are tied to sleep deprivation. But let me just ask you this. How many of y'all doctors are prescribing sleep?
Mhm.
You have to be informed.
And they don't ask you that in your input, like in your intake forms. How much sleep do you get a night? No one asks you that.
Yet we know, yet the CDC reported sleep deprivation as a chronic problem long before there was a pandemic, long before there was COVID. But it's not talked about because we live in a very money driven society.
Mhm.
If the doctors start prescribing sleep, then they're not prescribing the pharmaceuticals.
Mm.
But literally, I say, if you go to sleep, it'll solve a problem or two or 10. If I be completely and totally honest, whatever's plaguing you, whatever's keeping you awake, whatever's got your hair going gray, falling out, losing weight, if you prioritize your sleep, it will get better. If it's not completely solved, it will get better. When I do the work, I tell people the ROI is right now. Like, right now, if you go and do a brain dump, you just had a return on your investment. If you start to cultivate your sleep hygiene and have a great night's sleep, you're going to wake up the next morning with the ability to cognitive perform better than you have the day before. So the ROI is right now less than 24 hours. It's literally just about changing the narrative. And that is my passion and my goal is to change the narrative and the relationship that we have with sleep.
Mhm.
Just period.
Yeah, you talked a lot about yourself, about like, I don't do this anymore. Tell me how this has impacted you as you have learned more in your practice. Where were you and where are you now?
Ooh, child. Where was I? I was in a place that I did not like me, that I got on my own nerves. As brilliant as I may be, I was always irritated, just bothered. My laugh was not as deep. Like, you can laugh and then you can laugh from your gut where like your stomach muscles hurt.
Mhm.
And I was missing parts of that. And some people may go, well, it's okay. It's not okay when it's not the fullness of what life could be. So I was in a space of, because I am diagnosed with ADHD and generalized anxiety. I had to go to sleep. I had no choice but to learn how, because the alternative was broken relationships. The alternative was me sacrificing myself all the time to please people and then people not be pleased. So
Mm.
that's the space that I lived in. I literally was at work one day as an elementary school counselor and was in charge of Red Ribbon Week, which is about drug awareness, and the kids do different things on different days. So one of the days I was developing was dress as your favorite hobby. So then I asked myself, because this is where the self awareness that comes in, and you have to build that muscle. What are your favorite hobbies? So I got a list: roller skating, reading books, da 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 da. Then I hit my own self upside the head with, when was the last time you did any of those?
Mm.
And right there in the middle of my work day, I'm swallowing back tears
Yes.
because I could not remember the last time. So that's what I mean when about the intentional space and the cultivating. We have to put ourselves at the top of our list, not just on the list, at the top, to be our best self. Now, fast forward, more patient. I can't tell you the last time I was irritable. I was recently sick for almost 2 weeks. And for about 3 hours one day, I felt overwhelmed because I run two companies and there are some things in those companies that only I can do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I rarely get sick. So it's not a problem that I have to usually address. And I felt that overwhelmness. And I remember when I used to walk around with it every day, all day. And I said, hell no. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. And so I asked myself two things. What are the things that only you can do? And what's closest to the money? And that is all that you are going to do. So I may have worked the first week, I didn't really work at all. And then after that, as I started feeling better, I would work 20%, 30% until I built up to working back in a full day. It's about being able to be compassionate with yourself. My shirts say I am chosen, and that's part of that is committed to healing and overcoming through self-compassion to elevate now. So you have to have compassion and be gentle with yourself in the process of changing your narrative about sleep, in the process of changing your narrative about rest, because our society does not send the message of rest is productive. It does not send the message of sleep your way to wealth. It sends the message of work, 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 grind, 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 keep going, hustle, hustle, hustle to get to the things that you desire. I'm here to help you to get to the things you desire and still have your brain and still have your life and still have your health. Because what does it matter if we get there if we are completely out of our mind, if we are in failing health on 4 or 5 different prescription medicines? It doesn't matter. Not to me. Now, if you just want to get it how you live, then that's a different story. But I believe most of us want to achieve the goals and then be able to have enough life in us to celebrate. I literally have seen people smash goals and then like, oh, now I can rest. Now I can go take a nap. Like if I'm hitting goals and I'm smashing goals, I want to go turn up. And like turn up is everybody's definition. For me, it's like a vacation on a tropical island somewhere. Somebody else may have a different turn up. You know, for me, it's like let me go shopping and get a new pair of shoes, new pair of boots. But it saddens me that we work so very hard, and then when we hit the goals, we have no energy. All we can do is sleep or go to bed or listen to society and start chasing the next thing instead of resting in, like, I did that. I accomplished that. So, yeah, I can go forever. But where I am now is I have a 2-year old, and even in his newborn stages and
Wait,
phases,
you have a 2-year-old and two
I
businesses
do.
and you sleeping, girl?
I am. And I have a 19-year-old that's in his sophomore year of college.
How? How? How?
And intentionality, showing up and doing the things and being present, teaching people how to treat me. That's where the boundaries came in. I can tell you a lot of folk was not happy when LaShasta started to shift and change because I was no longer available to be the crisis counselor for everyone.
Oh God, that's so loud. That is so loud. Okay, go ahead. Just keep talking. Go ahead. Just tell me. Just keep.
I couldn't. It was killing me. It was killing the me that I was to be. And I knew God had something greater for me, but I was blocking my own way. So that meant my phone go to do not disturb at a certain time. That meant, hey, hubby, if we gonna have this kid in our 40s, we're gonna have some agreements. My breastfeeding does not mean my being up every night with him. So we alternated nights. So one night I'm on duty, the next night he's on duty. By the time my son was metabolically able to sleep through the night, which research says 12 pounds, I sleep trained him. So he slept through the night. Now I get to sleep. We both get to sleep through the night every night. That's how I was able to still average 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. That means, like, hey, I'm not going to stay up all night and watch TV with you. I love you, and these are great shows, but I can watch one show and that's it. Or we can do this one thing and that's it. And granted, my husband sometimes will be like, well, your sleep is fine. You're not going to do da 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 because of your sleep. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you are aware. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm up late sometimes. Went to Vegas to see Usher. I was up late, but I also was able to shift my wake time as needed or work on recovering that missed sleep for the next couple of weeks with different intentional things, because a lot of us like to be up during the week and then sleep in on the weekend and think it balances out, and sleep debt doesn't exactly work like that. It's a good practice, but you're not recovering. If you miss 2 hours of sleep on Friday and you sleep in late 2 hours on Saturday, it doesn't equate. It doesn't recover. So that's how I've been able to do it. My 2-year-old knows rest already. I literally was talking at an event to women leaders and entrepreneurs, and shared the story of how London will tell us, "Come sit down," and he'll pat the couch. "Come sit down." If he feel like you're moving around too much or you're too busy, come sit down. And the next day, I was like, I bet people like she just be making stuff up. She on stage making stories up. He did it. I was in the kitchen, and when I pick him up from daycare, he wants to chill on the couch, watch his show, sit in my lap. And if I'm not available to do that, then he'll tell me, "Come on, mommy, come sit down and pat the couch right here, right here." And so I got him on video and put it in a reel, and people were like laughing because we've taught him. There are moments where mommy is resting. There are moments when daddy is resting. And when we are resting, this is what it looks like. And this is what is okay for you to do. And this is what is not okay for you to do. We don't have fits at bedtime. because he understands sleep is important. Well, sleep is important for him to grow, for him to keep learning things, for him to be smart. He understands mommy and daddy need to sleep so that we can take care of him. So if it gets to a point and it starts getting late, and for whatever reason London not in bed, London will be like, bed. And he just turned 2. Like this morning, he popped up at 6 something, about an hour early, and I'm like, "Are you still sleepy? Are you still tired?" Yes. So we sat in the rocking chair for a little bit, and then I needed to start my morning, and he wasn't ready, so I put him in my bed. He didn't go back to sleep, but he laid there and rest. And around 7:30, which is his usual wake up time, he got out the bed and was like, "All right, I'm ready to go. Where's Coco Melon?" So it's having the information, teaching the information, practicing the information, and wash, rinse, repeat. And those people who don't align with your values, you have to decrease the communication with them. You have to be willing to set the boundary of that language and that type of conversation doesn't work for me. I can literally pull my phone and show text. I woke up 2 days ago, motivated, ready to work. Like, let's go. I did some work for 30 minutes to an hour. Then I got my son up and we played and we did our morning stuff. And once I dropped him off from daycare, I text my accountability partners and I'm like, I have no motivation for work. I just don't want to work today. And their response was, sis, you've been going hard. You're also recovering from being sick. Take the day off. Take a moment. Spend some time. Those are the type of people you want in your life, not push through. We are not living in a push through society right now. Some of the things that we have to encounter have never had to be encountered in this space at this time in this way. Many of us haven't even processed the pandemic and the way it changed our lives and our way of being and our way of thinking. You have to be willing to want to change that narrative. You have to be willing to put people around you, and I like to call it your security team. And I talk about this in my book. People that will help you secure your peace when you are in crisis, when you cannot, them affirming the values that they know that I hold helped me that morning. And so I did not take the day off, but what I did is I did some somatic yoga. I took a shower. I had a nice warm cup of tea, mindfully drinking the tea. And then I reevaluated how I was feeling after that. I didn't do the work that I had on my agenda to do, but I did do some work and something that was less mentally taxing. So therefore, I did not have to take the day off. But I had to pause and be gentle with myself and walk through it. And that's what we have to be willing to do.
Oh, gosh. The last thing I want to talk about, because I know I'm a little over time here with you. I want to honor your time, but um, it's called ACTA, ACT. Those are my initials. What's one thing somebody can do today to get them from where they are to where they want to be?
Mind your business.
Just like that.
Mind your business. Literally, when problems and situations come into your day, asking yourself, is this my problem to solve? How much energy do I want to give it? And wash, rinse, repeat, just starting there. Because if we start there and taking our time back, now guess what? You have space and time to work on your sleep. You're not telling me, LaShasta, I don't have time. I'm too busy. If you mind your business, a lot of y'all will get about half a day back. I'm just saying. And that's with all the shade. That's with all the shade.
Jasmine, I literally talk to you all day long. How can we support you? How can we follow you? All the good stuff.
I mean, thank you. Look, like I told you, I was one that was not minding my business. If someone called me with something, I jumped into action. Even if they didn't ask me to solve the problem, I'm giving them solutions. But the problem becomes for us when you do that and it doesn't work out for them, then they blame you that their problem is not solved.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a vicious cycle. So that's why I say if you just start there, I mean, you could drink water and meditate and do all those things, but let's just be honest. If you focus on you, mind your business, it's going to give you back time. It's going to give you back energy. And then now you can hydrate. And now you can practice your rest ethic. And now you can build your sleep hygiene because you are not contending with other people's problems. I like to call it OPP. I know Naughty by Nature dropped it first, but I'm recoining it as OPP is other people's problems. And that's what we do. But if you want to support me, start by supporting you. Start by taking one thing that you heard me say today and say, I'm going to rock with this for the next 30 days. I'm going to rock with this for the next week. And then you can hit my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, I am L Bell, or go to my website, LaShastaBell.com, and let's work together. I have individual work that I do that just a little bit because I still enjoy that one-on-one. I don't do it the bulk of my time. Speaking and training, corporate churches, I love to go to a church because I'm such a disruptor and people don't want to talk about what they need to talk about
Right.
sleep and rest. But Jesus was the one that
Yes.
said, leave me alone. I'm going to go up here on this mountain. Y'all stay down here because I'm about. But anyway, I would go. Don't let me go into that because the folks don't want to hear it. But the Bible talks about rest and peace and sleep. I mean, it was a whole storm. They was on a boat. What was Jesus doing? Like, I'm finna get these 7 hours.
Yeah.
Because y'all gonna want me to solve some problems and heal some people. So let me go to sleep. So when I wake up, I'm ready. But that's how they can do it. Corporate trainings. I have a space that I curate for leaderships that's called Blind Spot, the Strategic Planning Sleepover, that we talk about the blind spots, the personal and professional productivity and leadership. And it's amazing. I've had teams now for several years that have come and that are growing together. So, yeah, hit me up. Let me get you rested. Like, let's change the narrative on sleep.
I love it. You've already started changing my narrative. I'm gonna get my life together. I promise. I'm gonna get it together.
You're already on your way. You're taking those rest breaks during the day. You know, if you're not sleeping well at night, just increase the amount of rest that you're having during the day because you're still putting your mind at ease. You're still making space. And then slowly and gradually decide what's your sleep hygiene going to look like. When you take that shower for the next 5 or 6 days, just take time to observe what are you doing after your night shower.
Mm-hmm.
What things are conducive to your sleep and what things are counterproductive, and just slide the things out that's counterproductive. You don't even have to add anything new right now. You just slide it out. So it's not about, oh, I have to do more. I'm actually going to ask you to do less. So if you turn the TV on at 10 o'clock and it's not counterproductive, it's being counterproductive, then just say, you know what, I'm not going to turn the TV on at 10 o'clock. From being sick, I was in the bed a lot, lying around a lot, binge watching TV. I quickly picked up a habit of watching TV in my bed. And no, the only two things that should be in your bed is sleep and sex. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I told my husband, I said, when we were evening time, dinner time, I said, I'm going to be in the bed by 10, sleep by 10:30. If I'm not able to sit down and watch TV by 9:30, I'm not watching. The TV will not come on because I was 11:30. And I do have the luxury of sleeping to 7:30, but I'm a morning person. So I like to be up by 6 a.m. at the latest to get my day started. I said I was going to do it, and I did it. That meant I didn't watch any TV yesterday. And I'm not going to die. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, I'm alive. And I slept 7.5 hours. So you are on your way. Be gentle with yourself. Even I fumble and switch up and change and practice bad habits that I know are bad habits. But I give myself grace because I'm human first.
Yes. Thank you so much. You're going to be hearing
You're
from me.
welcome.
Thank you so much. This is so great. Thanks for listening to The Next Best Thing with Andrea Cline-Thomas, a Mountain Court Media production. The music was written, recorded, and produced by Gavin Casey. also known as dark purple. Now, if you like what you heard, please subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and write a comment on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to share it with friends. And I hope this episode helps you on your journey. See you next time.